What's up, YouTube? This is your boy John from the Jersey Shore, and I'm with you tonight to talk about the 2013 zombie classic, World War Z. If you're already a subscriber to my channel, welcome back. It's good to see you again. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, what are you waiting for? Click that subscribe button and get that out of the way. World War Z was directed by Mark Foster. It was starring Brad Pitt, Marielle Enos, and Daniela Cortez. So this movie starts off with Brad Pitt, his wife, and their two daughters hanging out at home. And then they go out, they're driving through town, and suddenly a police motorcycle runs by, tears the mirror off their car. Brad Pitt jumps out of the car to see what's going on. Cop just keeps going, finds it to be a bit strange. Dude asks him if he's all right, everything's all right. They just start to get back in their car. Next thing you know, cop rolls up, tells them to stay in your car, and then a trash truck comes along, barrels through the cop and gets rid of him, and just keeps going. Brad Pitt does not panic, throws the car in gear, and follows the trash truck. As prior to this, they were stuck in traffic, and he knows if he follows that truck, he's going to be able to get through the traffic. So they drive ahead, they come to a stop, and absolute mayhem ensues. People are attacking each other, and Brad Pitt spots one particular individual get attacked, and in his mind, he is counting. He's hearing one of his daughter's toys that was counting that you heard earlier in the movie, and as it counts on and on and on, he's keeping track of it. He's paying attention to what's going on. The count hits 11, and then this guy that was just laying there dead jumps up and runs and starts to attack other people. So Brad Pitt, his wife, and his two daughters, they commandeer some motorized camper, motorhome, because that's what they call those things. They commandeer a motorhome, and they start to drive out of the traffic, out of the city. They get away. They realize that one of the daughters needs albuterol. She's got asthma. So they stop at a drugstore, which is being completely overrun. People are looting, stealing everything out of there. They manage to get some albuterol. They get outside. Turns out that Brad Pitt's character, Jerry, is ex-CIA. He was some sort of a government agent. He gets a phone call. They establish somewhat of a meeting point. Brad Pitt gets his wife and his daughters to a high-rise in the city. They get up to the top floor. They set a time to meet with the government officials. They're going to try and extract Brad Pitt and his family out of there to get them to safety. So now Brad Pitt is tasked with leaving his family. He's been retired. He's got to come out of retirement, and in doing so, the government promises to protect his family while he goes out and tries to figure out where this virus started. While he's out, he comes across a girl that was in the military over in India. She gets bitten while they're searching for running through India. She gets bitten on the hand. Brad Pitt immediately pulls out a knife, chops her hands off. After he chops her hands off, in his mind you hear him counting, or he does the same thing. He's counting to 11 to make sure that she doesn't turn. She doesn't turn. He saves her. They get away. They run out onto the middle of a runway, jump on a plane. Plane takes off. He cleans the wound. Then a zombie appears on the plane. Zombie mayhem on the plane. Brad Pitt pulls the hand grenade off of her. Remember, the girl with one hand was military, or one hand. She was military, so she's got a gun on her. She's got a hand grenade on her. Brad Pitt throws a hand grenade, blows a hole in the side of the plane, gets himself and this girl strapped down into the seat. Plane goes down. Everybody passes out. He wakes up, piece of metal stuck in his side. The military girl, the one-handed chick, she shows up. Her and Brad Pitt go off and they find a science research center. That's where the plane was headed in the first place, because Brad Pitt's character sort of commandeered the plane, had the pilots going in that direction. So Brad Pitt and this girl wind up at the science research center. They go inside, or they get them inside. He obviously passes out from pain and blood loss. When he wakes up, he's strapped to a gurney. The girl's nowhere in sight. His phone is no longer in his pocket. And there's two dudes there. One guy sitting in the chair next to him looking at him. Another guy off behind him. Brad Pitt recognizes the guy that's behind him and says that he wants to talk to him. The guy in the chair says, why do you want to talk to him? Brad Pitt says he's not saying anything. That means he's in charge. So they talk. They dial the phone. The people find out who he is and where he's from. They let him off the gurney. And now he explains to them that he thinks that the cause of this, or excuse me, not the cause, that the resolution to this issue may be to infect them with some sort of a virus. Something that won't kill them, but something that will make them sick, because the zombie outbreak, the zombies, in order to spread the infection needs a healthy host. Brad Pitt recognized on 3 different occasions earlier in the movie that, as he put it, like water around a rock, the zombies are running around people that are sick or terminally ill. They don't want anything to do with them, so they don't bother with them. They almost act like they're not there. So Brad Pitt's idea, Jerry's idea, is to infect the military, so that the military, because they have the know-how and the weapons, they will be able to fight the zombies if they're camouflaged by a virus. And that's what his scheme is, to come up with, try and combat this zombie outbreak. So he, the military girl with one hand, and one of the guys that was inside of the research facility, they have to make their way to a laboratory section that is down some bridge that is now also infected. Everybody inside of the room, or in that wing, there were 80 people working in there. They're all infected. So they have to find a way to get to the infections. They're all in little vials. I don't know anything about the medical world. I don't know what them things are called. Little bottles that contain pathogens and contain viruses, things that get you sick. That's where they have to go. So eventually everybody gets separated. The 2 people that are with Brad Pitt wind up going back to where they came from. Brad Pitt finds his way to this room where he's got to get all of the bottles of sick. The problem is he doesn't know what he's looking for. So he's in this room. He's got all of these vials of viruses in there and syringes. So he has the idea to fill a container up with as many of these little bottles as he can and go back to the main corridor where all the rest of the people in the laboratory are, the ones who have not been infected. So he doesn't know what he's doing. Before he does it, he holds up a sign that he handwrites that says, "Tell my family I love them." He gets a syringe, fills a syringe, and injects himself with a virus to make himself sick. While all this is going on, one of the scientists that previously worked in the laboratory is standing right outside the door, some freaky looking dude. Brad Pitt is looking right in his eyes, and he's got to go out. He's got to open this door. He's locked in a room. He's got to open this door and hope that this zombie does not attack him because of the illness that he injected into himself. Lo and behold, it works. So he gets out of there, walks down the hallway freely. He makes a bunch of noise with a soda machine. He releases all the soda so that they make it. That is a distraction. All the zombies are now running towards that noise, which is coming from the soda machine. And as they're running towards him, he's walking the opposite direction to get back to the laboratory, the main place where all the other people are. He goes in there. They show, everybody obviously is pretty excited about this discovery. They show him getting injected with more, him and the one-armed military girl. They leave the facility. The next scene you see is a boat traveling in Canada that is bringing him back to his family. He embraces with his family. Then they show what is going on in the rest of the world, where they're actually parachuting in vials and bottles of the virus so that people can infect themselves so that the zombies will not attack them. This is all being narrated by Jerry, Brad Pitt's character, as you see the military fighting the zombies, and he ends the movie saying that this is only the beginning. They say that that's only the beginning, but now it has been 6 years since this movie came out, and I am dying for a sequel to be made. I have been reading online different stories about the sequel to this movie. The only name that is consistently tied to this is Brad Pitt. He is listed as being a producer, pardon me, and he is listed as once again portraying Jerry, the main character in the story. I've read multiple times that there has been scripts made and scripts scrapped, directors hired, directors fired, directors hired, directors quitting. It just seems like they cannot get this thing made. A couple years ago in 2017, this movie was supposed to come out. I think the first time it was supposed to come out was 2015, and as of now, it's at a standstill. There's nothing going on with the sequel to World War Z, unfortunately. This movie was one of my favorite movies that has come out in the last decade. I absolutely loved it. I thought that this movie was fantastic. There was not a lot of blood or violence or gore in it. A lot of it was just suggested. I mean, there's a little bit, but it's not an overwhelming amount. It was produced by a major studio, so you couldn't have your typical zombie movie gore in a movie that they were going to have a wide release on. So I understood it. And the movie was so well made that you really didn't miss it. You didn't need it. I'm a huge Brad Pitt fan. I like most everything that Brad Pitt does. I've been a fan of him for a very long time, all the way back to the True Romance days where he had like the little bit part as Floyd smoking weed on the couch. I love Brad Pitt. He's done so many movies that I have thoroughly enjoyed. And when I first saw the trailers for this movie back in 2012, I was very excited about it. A, because the movie looked incredible, and B, because Brad Pitt was in the starring role of a zombie movie that was getting a wide release. Even the supporting characters in this movie were outstanding. Everything across the board was top-notch with this movie. The production, the CGI, the acting, the setting, the pacing, everything was great. The very beginning of this movie, when he's just hanging out with his family, it's nice. It's like friendly banter amongst four people who clearly love each other. And then when it hits the fan out in that traffic, it is go time. And it basically doesn't stop until the movie ends. I mean, of course, there's a few lulls in the story, or I should say a few lulls in the pacing, but that is just to breathe more life into the story and to breathe more life into these characters. And I think it also helps that when it picks back up again, it gives you a lot of highs and a lot of lows. Well, a lot of highs and a couple of lows. There's not a lot of lows in this movie. I think that this movie is wonderfully made. I think it's absolutely one of the best zombie movies of all time, even without the blood and the gore and the guts and the vulgarity. I think that this movie it couldn't have been more well made. World War Z, folks, if you have not seen this movie, go watch it now, right now. Stream it, buy it, look it up. I can't imagine anybody being disappointed in this movie. All right, folks, that's going to do it for my review of Mark Foster's World War Z. If you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up. If you really liked the video, please subscribe to my channel. I would love for you to go on this journey with me. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Have a kick-ass day, and thank you for watching.